I'm Sandy, and I'm Carly's mom. I was gifted that opportunity in 2009 to have this amazing child. And let me tell you right now, I think she's immortal. I'm pretty sure. I mean, look at all that she's been through. And you see her in the hospital after brain surgery, she's like, what? That all you got? Bring it, you know? She has so many things that are, to us, scary, that are happening to her, but to her, it's all she knows. And so I look at her, and I feel that way, that she is immortal. I do believe it. I was also very blessed to meet Greg Reed right after I had Carly. And in the beginning, I was working at secret knock events and doing stuff just like Katrina and Hilliard. A lot of you have seen me over the years doing this. And I had no idea how that man was going to shape me into my future. I had no idea. It was like a gift that I just read a Craigslist ad, and I answered it. And I met him at Chili's with him and Alan, and I'm like, wow, that was a really short meeting. Okay, I'm hired. And after that, I worked on the secret knock events, and we put together some mastermind groups. But the one that really made a difference was the one that we put together for Think and Grow Rich Stickability. At that time, I was able to pick up Ron Klein and Frank Shankwitz at the airport and take them over to Greg's house and get to hear their amazing stories. And these are people that you consider your mentors today, that you're here to meet, right? I got to meet them before you. I did. I got to meet them one-on-one in my car, and they trusted my driving. It was good.
That's frightening.
When Greg was done doing the interviews for the book the first day, the second day we had a mastermind group. And it was kind of amazing. They put everybody in a circle, and then someone takes the hot seat. And you talk about what you're working on, whether it's business or personal, whatever it is. And then the group will go around, and the group will actually tell you some good advice, and they write it down and they give it to you. And Savannah Ross was sitting in the chair. That was her first mastermind group with us. And she had an issue that I felt I had some information that could help her. And so I stood up, I'm like raising my hand, me, you know. And I stood up, and I told the story about that first brain surgery. See, I always hide my feelings. Not only do I hide them, I ignore them. I push them aside because business has to be taken care of. someone tells you your daughter needs brain surgery, you're not going to be able to sit there and cry about it. You have to do stuff. You have to give blood. You have to go through all this stuff. So I didn't feel anything until the moment I handed her to the doctors. And the doctors carried her through those double doors. And I just was gone. I was gone. It was over. I was Forrest Gump. I ran out of the hospital. I ran to my car. I screamed as loud as I could. And on my next breath in, time stopped. And I had this vision. And it was Carly. And she was 19 years old. And she was perfect. And I had no reason to fear. Because I saw her as done. I just have to walk the path to get there. And so Greg, after I told that story, he stands up and goes, "That's going in a book." What? I'm a musician, I'm not a writer. Nope, that's going in the book. You're gonna be a best-selling author. Congratulations. Next, you know how quick he is with that. So here we have this little book that Greg Reed gifted me called The Rise. I know he was talking about, to some of you who may be aspiring authors, or even if you're not, I wasn't, this book changed my life. You know what I did with this book? I didn't submit it to the Grammy committee. I would have. It was music. But what I did is I went out and I raised money for a local foundation here called Fresh Start Surgical Gifts. They do facial reconstruction repairs. I partnered up with Scott Carson, who is a saint, by the way. Scott Carson matched every penny that I raised for that foundation. Okay? And he provided me with the venues to speak at, but I have speaking at other venues as well. We raised enough for 110 children to get facial reconstruction surgeries. And all the therapies that followed, everything was covered. And, you know, it was kind of amazing that I had that experience because it taught me that I love giving and I love being part of the nonprofit arena, and it taught me how to raise money. And then I realized it was really good for it because I don't know if anybody's ever sold a book for $10,000 before, but this is all you got when you donated to that cause. So I would give you the book and you would give me a check, and then Scott would match it. We had one person write me a $5,000 check and Scott had to match it. And they got a book. The book cost, what, $3? That's a pretty good return on investment. So after that experience, I just knew that this was going to turn into something more, but I didn't know how, and actually I was trying to ignore it so I can go back to my selfish life. But in May of last year, there was one of the pictures of Carly with that little crazy train. I call it the crazy train because every time it's near her, she goes crazy. She wants to play with it constantly. She has that crazy train back there, by the way. Anyways, she was in the hospital. We were getting an EEG to find out why she keeps having these seizures. They happen in the bathtub. And they're not the kind that cause brain damage, but they sure are hard to watch. So I wanted to know why. Where is it? What can we do? And she's sitting there, and Carly has never really looked me in the eye much from the age of 2. She just started to digress rather than progress. And so, you know, this was new territory, what I'm about to tell you. I'm like, Carly, 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 by the way, I say that all the time, Carly. And she turned and she looked at me and said, Carly. I'm like, oh my God, she's so good. I'm jumping around. I will never do that again, Mom. You're crazy. You know, she never spoke a word since. But I realized something. That tumor that was in the area where it affected speech, then when they took it out, it didn't cause permanent brain damage. There's hope. I got to figure out a way to get her to communicate. I don't know, except for telepathy. At that time, telepathy was my only communication tool with this child. She barely cries. Nothing. You know, at that time, she wouldn't look you in the eye, wouldn't say her wants and needs, nothing. So I started to do research. I went to her speech therapist. I asked the speech therapist, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? She said a word. I need to make this happen more often. She goes, well, you know, they're having a lot of great progress with iPads and various apps with autistic children and nonverbal children. I suggest that you contact the blah, blah, blah nonprofit organization, I'm not gonna mention their name, and see if they can get you one. And I'm like, okay. So I call them. Yes, ma'am, we'd like to bill your insurance. I'm like, okay, I'll give you my insurance, I guess. Buy an iPad? You know, anyways, it didn't make sense to me. And then I called them back a week later. Oh, we're still contacting your insurance. I'm like, okay. I called another week later. Well, I don't think it's going to work out. Your insurance isn't going to work with us, but you can apply for Medi-Cal really quick. We can do this, most of it over the phone, then mail you the package. And I'm like, what? I want to know what to do. I'll buy the iPad. I'll go to the store and buy the iPad. I'm not broke. I will buy that iPad. What do I do? How can I make my baby talk? Ma'am, we have to bill your insurance. We can't help you until you go through our process. That's why I won't mention their name. So I got really mad, and I went and I built a web page in 1 hour. And then in 10 minutes, I posted a Facebook campaign, and I put it out there, and within 24 hours, I had an iPad and enough money to buy all the apps from people who know me that are friends on Facebook. They just donated the money. That picture you see Connie with that iPad, that's the iPad that we got for her. She actually has it in the back of the room right now. And what I did for the next 3 months after that is I was very aggressive about finding out what to do. Not everybody had all the answers, but everybody had a little bit of the answer, and so I had to put the puzzle pieces together. And I found out that there's various apps like GoTalk. GoTalk is cool. You press a button, it says, I have to go potty. Press another button, my tummy hurts. They have a yes and a no button. You can program them to do anything. And with Cardi's case, you know, they're very small. They can't touch appropriately. She has a little bit of a disability also in her fine motor because of a nerve here that was affected from the brain surgery. And so she's like, not able to point exactly where. Well, they have different apps that teach them how to overcome that disability. I mean, I was so blessed to be working with special needs teachers, different therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. But I went and I sought out those answers, and then I looked back and said, my God, that took 3 months? What a waste of time. And look how I had to find out about it, on accident. You know, just Cardi had to say a word before anybody recommended it. She's 5. Couldn't somebody get me this information sooner? And then August 25th happened. 4 a.m. Bang! Wide awake. Anybody have that happen? Yeah. That idea pops into my mind. You have to help the other parents. Oh, no, I'm busy. August 26th, 4 a.m. Bang! You have to help the other parents. Now the voice is getting deeper. Pretty soon it's going to be Darth Vader, trust me. Yeah. So I want to try to do one real quick thing with you guys so you can understand what it's like to be Carly and what this iPad is going to mean before I go into explaining what happened after that. Can you all close your eyes for just a second? Imagine that you can hear everybody's heartbeat all at once. Different rates, different volumes. You can hear the fan at the same volume. You can hear every breathing pattern at the same volume. You can smell everybody's underarm deodorant and perfume all at once. When you look at the lights, they flicker at a slower rate. Therefore, your brain has to process them. When you see a face, that's something new that's never been seen before. It takes 1,000 pictures before you are able to say that that face is okay. When you hear a sound, it's loud is really loud. Quiet is disturbing. When you see the sunlight, it burns. When someone goes to touch your arm, unless you're able to watch it happen, it hurts. That's autism. That's sensory processing disorder. That's what they have. Now, how are they going to look at us and communicate when they got all that going on? They have to focus on one little thing, right? One little thing. iPad. The iPad is always going to be the same. They memorize it, it's always the same. They know it teaches you how to talk. Cardi, once we gave her the iPad and taught her she had a voice, she walks everybody around with a finger. She'll pull your finger and say, no, you have to go over here because I want to drink out of the refrigerator, and she'll make you touch it so that you understand what she wants. One time, this was very recent, after we exposed her to the iPad, she decided she wanted some Pediasure. I just gave her a whole 8 ounces. I don't want her having too much Pediasure and ruining her meal, their next meal. So I go to my office to send an email, and I come out, and there's a Pediasure bottle right here on the floor. I was about to trip over it, but I thought. I walked this way, and you can go that way to my living room and that way to my kitchen. There's a Pediasure bottle there, and there's a Pediasure bottle there. And here's Carly holding her cup, going like this. Like, I told you I wanted some Pediasure. I mean, she just started realizing, hey, I can talk to Mommy. Mommy can get me. And she didn't do that before. Now, everybody who's met her, Ron Klein, Frank Shankwitz, Greg Reed, David Corbin, I made her do what? One thing. I made her look you in the eye and shake your hand. That's huge for Carly. She would never do that. You couldn't even exist in her world for 20 minutes after meeting her. She's made so much progress. So after I had these thoughts about this charity and setting it up, I decided that I can't sleep at night unless I commit to taking action. My brain is just getting the deeper, darker thought or voice in there, and it's getting more powerful. I have to do it. And so Ron Klein was having a mastermind group in San Diego. And it was last year on October 6th and 7th. We brought in an angel investor, and I have some of the masterminds are here today. They've been tracking me to see what I'm doing, and they know that this happened very quickly. We talked about it. I presented, here's my idea. This is what I want to do, and this is what I need help with. And everybody was very giving. They gave me everything that I need. And October 8th, we were live because I had an opportunity to talk to an accountant how to operate as a California nonprofit right from the gate, and then file for the 501c3 rather than waiting. Why wait? There's kids out there that need me. So within 30 days, Scott had me speaking at every one of his events, and a couple other speakers that I work with had me speaking at theirs. We raised money. We were able to give out iPads before Christmas. It was amazing. We have a school here at the San Diego Unified School District that has 65% special needs kids. We already donated 6 iPads to them, and we're promising them 9 more. If you go to carlyscause.com, you can see some of the videos of the teachers and of the principal of how grateful they were for that donation. We have different children that we have given iPads to, and this is really cool. This is really cool. I get this a couple days before Christmas. By the way, I don't make a penny at Carly's Cause, and I refuse to. I refuse to. I'm doing this because I love her and I want solutions. This is from Christian, who had just had a surgery. He's wheelchair bound and he can only move his hands, but he can't move them fully. So he can't type on a keyboard to do his schoolwork. He can talk, but he can't do his schoolwork. He hasn't been able to do it for 3 years. So we gave him an iPad mini. An iPad mini was what he needed, believe it or not. And then he sends me this letter. Well, his mom sent me a copy of the letter. Dear Santa Claus, Christmas is coming and I'm looking forward to your visit. I would like anything for Christmas. But, first of all, I would like some cool shirts. And I would like a nice chess and checkerboard set. Finally, I'd like some sand from Brookstone. A box to put it in and some tools to shape it. I've been a good boy. I really think I deserve these 3 things because I'm very patient. I work hard at school, and I don't interrupt people. Excited for you to come and visit me. Sincerely, Christian. He was finally able to write Santa Claus a letter. Look, we're making great strides. I have an amazing team. I have Scott Carson. If you could stand up. I have Stephanie Goodman. Scott Carson is my VP. Stephanie Goodman, who's holding the iPad trying to not be focused, is our treasurer. I have Marcia Harris back there as our secretary, and Stephanie Odell is our event planner. I have on the board of advisors, Mr. Ron Klein. I have speaking, and this is really true to my heart. We're having a fundraiser in May. And because, you know, he'll tell you, I can't listen to his story, so I probably won't watch as he speaks at my fundraiser. I've been blessed to get mentoring from Frank Shankwitz on doing this. And he's going to come and speak at our fundraiser. How cool is that? It's amazing. August 25th till now. Why? Because Greg says it. You surround yourself with the like-minded people. You're around the right people, it's going to happen. And especially if your heart's in it to win it. So you have a donation form there. We do accept donations of any amount at all. The girls are in the back of the table after they give away the tub of love. You can bring the donation form and leave it there. Anyone who donates $500 or more, you're gonna get this really cool silver bracelet. It has the autism symbol on it, and remember, April is Autism Awareness Month, so we want you to get it and wear it, for sure. And I just want to really say one last thing. I couldn't have done this without Greg Reed. See, he set me up. He did. As a parent of a special needs child, I have fear of failure. And I won't be able to complete my mission as a mom. But he set me up with this beautiful opportunity, made me a best-selling author, introduced me to all of his friends, put me on the stage here today, my God. And I'll end with saying this. I heard this quote the other day, and it dang near made me cry. I try not to cry, I hide my emotions. It speaks louder to walk with the broken than it does to sit with the great. But I've been sitting with you great people for the past 3 days, and what I'm asking of you is to shed your light on our mission and help us create a path so that we can walk with the broken.